Welcome to the Google Pixel 4, and straight away let me tell you that this is the best phone ever made by Google. Yeah, that's kind of obvious, but what I mean is that this phone is priced well and the hardware is also pretty impressive. It gets a 90Hz display, which is just awesome. It is powered by the Snapdragon 855 SoC, comes with 6 gigs of RAM, and the design of this new Pixel phone is simple yet classy, just the way I like it. Both the Pixel 4 and 4 XL have the exact same specs, just a few things differ. Like the display on the Pixel 4 is a 5.7-inch Full HD Plus panel, whereas the XL model gets a 6.3-inch Quad HD Plus panel. Now both these panels are OLED, both have the same 90Hz refresh rate, which intelligently switches to 60Hz whenever you don't need that high refresh rate. What else is different is the battery. The battery on the Pixel 4 XL is a respectable 3700 mAh unit, which is good enough. But the smaller Pixel 4 packs a 2700 mAh battery, which may be a concern for many people out there. Both the phones obviously support quick charging, but I wish Google would have gone with a bigger battery on that Pixel 4 because it's way too small, man. Well, apart from the battery and display, every other feature on these phones is the same. Google has implemented a radar sensor in the Pixel 4, and right now it does pretty basic stuff like changing tracks and muting calls and alarms by swiping. It also senses whether you are near the phone or not, so as soon as your hand reaches for your phone, it prepares the front camera for the face unlock, and boy oh boy. The face unlock on this thing is crazy fast, especially when that radar sensor is active. And the angles at which this thing can work is ridiculous. And yeah, you have already noticed that there's no fingerprint scanner, neither on the back nor under the display, so face unlock is the only biometric way to unlock your phone. And thanks to all these sensors, the phone has a pretty substantial top bezel, so Google is just ditching the trend of achieving those high screen to body ratios, and it's focusing more on some legit features. I have no issues with that because I'm okay with a phone like this. It still looks great. As I mentioned earlier, it is powered by the Snapdragon 855 SoC and comes with 6GB of RAM, but storage is the part where the phone falls behind. The maximum that you can get is 128 gigs, which is enough for most people, but a 256GB variant would have been a good option because there's no way to expand the storage on this device. Now for the first time, a Pixel phone has dual rear cameras, which is a great news because the Pixel 3, even though it had a single rear camera, is still one of the best phones in terms of image quality. So just imagine what Google can do with dual cameras. The primary shooter is a 12.2 megapixel camera with an f1.7 aperture, and the second camera is a 16 megapixel telephoto lens. Both the cameras have OIS as well as EIS, and Google went with a telephoto lens because they think zooming in is more fun probably. Well, I don't have any issues with that because I have a wide angle camera on my phone and I barely use it. Now don't get me wrong, I like what it does with the photos, but I'm not a huge fan of wide angle cameras on smartphones. Coming to the front camera of this Pixel 4, it's an 8 megapixel shooter, and Google claims that portrait mode has improved further, and I tend to believe that because there are a lot of sensors this time to capture depth information, both on the front and back. Now there are a lot of new camera features this time, like improved HDR, improved portrait mode, and a lot of astrophotography features. But my favorite one is that the viewfinder now shows how the actual image would look. On most of the Android phones right now, the viewfinder shows something and the final image comes out to be something else. Well, that is because as soon as you click the shutter button, there's a lot of image processing that goes on, and then you get to see the final image. But this time around, Google has done a lot new things to improve the image quality on their new Pixel 4. But Pixel phones never had amazing video quality, and I thought Google would improve that this time, but no. They didn't even talk about video quality in that launch event. Okay, forget about video quality. Nobody even said that this phone can record videos. And they didn't talk about that because there's no as such improvement in the video quality. That's pretty sad. Well, that's all about the Pixel 4 and 4 XL, and I really wanted to get my hands on it, but sadly Google won't launch this phone in India. And according to me, the main reason behind not launching this phone in India is that Pixel devices didn't do quite well in India. Even the Pixel 3a and 3a XL did pretty well overseas, but in India both these phones were a flop because of that crazy high price tag. So that wraps up this video, and if you end up liking it, then hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Thank you for watching A to Z Tech, and I'll see you guys in our next video.